Policing is a dangerous job, and while it is our job to protect our communities, we cannot underestimate the emotional toll it has on our officers.
The Chicago Police Department taking center stage in the nation's capital yesterday. That was Chief of Constitutional Policing and Reform Angel Novalez talking to the Senate Judiciary Committee about the impact of gun violence on law enforcement.
And Chief Novalez joining us this morning. Thanks for joining us. We appreciate it. Good morning to you.
Good morning.
Let's talk a little bit about what inspired you, or why did you end up going to Capitol Hill to talk about this?
Well, it was an important opportunity. I think I'm on mute. It was one second, please. It was an important opportunity for us to not only highlight the sacrifices and the emotional toll on our officers for the job that they do, but it was also an opportunity to highlight Officer Ella French, Officer Carlos Yanez, and Officer Joshua Blas.
You know, we talk so much about the gun violence that takes place here in Chicago, and obviously that has taken center stage in conversations just recently when it comes to gun reform. What type of guns are you most worried about on the streets, and how has that changed you all's jobs over the years?
Well, we have seen an increase in the caliber of the weapon, the capacity. We're recovering a lot more drum magazines, which, greatly increase the capacity of that firearm. And, it's difficult for our officers, being outgunned. And when you think about the officers' accomplishments, in the last 2.5 years, our officers have recovered 24,000 firearms. And with the increase in capacity, that's 24,000 more opportunities to have a tragedy.
Mm. You went and you spoke and you told about what has been going on, what your officers have been faced with. There's been a big push to try to get a ban on these assault weapons. A lot of people feel like, they're just pounding their head on the cement and nothing is happening. What were you hoping would come as a result of what you had to say, because you experienced this firsthand?
Well, what I'd like to see is an effort to help remove those dangerous guns off the streets. This is a great step. The Officer Ella French Task Force Support Act of 2022 is a great effort to help us achieve that. Ultimately, what I'd like to see is, that our officers don't, become victim of these weapons that are out there.
You all have hundreds of vacancies right now on the force, and recruiting has to be extremely difficult right now. I know Ella French's mom was with you in Washington. How emotional has all of this been, and how do you feel vacancies with these type of headlines as well?
Well, first of all, Mrs. Elizabeth French was wonderful. Her spirit was something that inspired me while I was there. As far as recruitment, the Chicago Police Department has made a valiant effort of putting up a recruitment team to ensure that we're not only recruiting here in Chicago, but all across the country. This isn't not a unique problem in Chicago. This is a problem that's occurring across the country. So we have to make the best effort possible to compete, to make sure we get those qualified, diverse candidates that we need.
Finally, you talked about a number of specific events yesterday, including one that personally affected you. Can you tell our viewers about that?
Well, when I was a young police officer, I suffered a gunshot wound working as an officer out in the street, similar to what all officers do every day, going out there doing the job the best that you can to support the communities in our city. There are a lot of good people out there. And I was shot in the line of duty, and that event, you heal physically, but it carries a lot of trauma that you have to negotiate, and you do it all while going back on the street and doing your job. And our officers do it all the time, and I'm incredibly proud of them because they see such tragedies and they help people, and it's very emotional. But every morning they wake up and they put that uniform back on and go right back out there and do it again.
Well, Chief, we appreciate you. We are grateful for what you do, and thank you so much for being here with us today.
Thank you.
Yeah, what
Take
a story.
care.
What a story. Getting
Yeah.
shot and then going back out. And